Hi, I'm Rick.
I'm Sharon.
And we are Cargo On.
Cargo Conversion Building Camp.
So Santa came, we got some gifts.
There you go.
I got some stuff for YouTube. I got a new camera, a web camera, a gimbal. Got some cool little decorative stuff for the trailer. I've been good. Well, I certainly hope everyone enjoyed their holiday, and we are wishing everyone a happy new year. And we're going to do a video on safety to start the new year off.
So we thought maybe we would do a video on being safe on the road. And I will be honest with you, I'm not always mindful of that. Now, there have been times that I know you have carried when we've traveled. Now, that's probably maybe more a remote location. I think you carried when we were on the AT, didn't you? But that was more for like a bear or whatever.
That was more just to keep you from being too concerned.
Everyone maybe has access to weapons or is comfortable with weapons. So maybe we should talk about ways to keep yourself safe. I think the number one thing, you need to be aware. You need to be aware of your surroundings. And I think...
Well, I think there's one that even goes beyond that.
What?
I would list awareness as number two, because I am very observant of all of the people around me, wherever I am, whether it's a shopping center or grocery store or in the parking lot or whatever. So much stuff you hear about going on in the news, you never know when a nasty incident is going to happen right in your proximity. But when I was in high school, I had a Catholic priest that taught me that used to have a saying of, stay obscure and be secure. Now I've traveled, in campgrounds and state parks. I've also traveled in the Caribbean and in Mexico. And one of my primary methods of feeling relatively safe is to not make yourself a target. So, you go out into public areas and you look like a tourist and you got your Rolex watch on, you're going to become a target.
So blend in, you're saying.
Yeah, and I don't generally flash or get too flashy showing an expensive camera. When I was in the Caribbean, I used to try to dress more like a resident than a tourist. Very, nothing new, old clothes, nothing too fancy or expensive looking, and definitely didn't go into public places and try to be arrogant, because a lot of destinations, both here and abroad, service staff and the locals, they just don't like people that are snooty. So just being low-keyed and friendly, I think that goes a long way to your safety.
It does, but that brings up another point. With me, sometimes, and you two can also do it, I think I can be too friendly, too nice, too naive, too... oh, there's a cargo, let's run over and I want to go see if I can do a tour and an interview. And I've done that by myself sometimes. I mean, fortunately, I wasn't alone. There was, a husband and a wife there. But even still, I mean, it's probably not the smartest thing to do. So being friendly can be taken the wrong way, too. I come back to being aware of your surroundings. If your gut is telling you something is off, I would say listen to your gut. There's something off. Whether it's a vibe that you're getting from the campground itself, the people, someone walking by, I would really be mindful of that vibe. Now, I mean, that doesn't mean, go run and call 911, but it just means to be on the safe side. We always lock our camper when we go to bed at night. There are times that, yes, we may have something to protect ourselves in the camper, but not all the time as far as a firearm. There's kitchen knives in there. There's a fire extinguisher. I think the other thing that could be used is mace. And then I keep hearing people talking about wasp spray.
I have since learned that wasp spray is illegal to use as a weapon on somebody.
You maybe, you have your camper, it's locked up, you have a weapon in there, and you go out for a hike. But what protection do you have on that hike? Maybe a small knife, maybe a can of mace. I mean, you're not carrying a shotgun on a trail. With a handgun is probably not the easiest thing to do. I would think the best thing you could take would probably be mace or bear spray.
One, they do travel a considerable distance. I mean, even if you were to necessarily hit the bear to deter it, all you need to do is create a cloud of vapor between you and the bear. And the same is true of an attacker. If you create a cloud of mace or bear spray between you and the attacker, that's going to act as a barrier that he's not going to want to come through it, because it's, going to cause the eyes to tear, he loses vision and whatnot. So it takes a lot of the wind out of their sails real quick.
I am sure that there are so many other ways to be safe and protect yourself, so that we have missed. So please let us know in the comments. Safe with maintenance on your camper and your tow vehicle, keeping yourself safe and secure from either wild animals or any kind of predator out there that's not an animal but a human.
Staying obscure, not making yourself a target, being aware, being observant about what's going on around you. We also talked about, maybe the need to have a weapon or some sort of defensive equipment, whether it's bear spray or a cast iron skillet or
a whistle.
A whistle, whistles are actually good for a lot of things.
You hear a whistle out in the woods, I think you're really going to pay attention to that.
Well,
it's an alarm.
There's a universal distress signal, and that is 3. 3 blasts on a whistle. If you hear someone fire 3 shots from a gun when you're out hunting, it could be a distress signal that they're lost and looking for help. But the whistle's a good thing to have when you're lost. It can get you attention. You're on the water canoeing, you're getting too far separated, you might want to get somebody's attention by a whistle blast to have them look and become aware of the fact that you are that far apart. The only other thing that I can think of off the top of my head to add to that is try to do as much research about an area that we're planning on going to, because not only, are predators, human predators, an issue, but also natural plants and animals. You can get into an area where there's an invasive poisonous plant that you shouldn't touch or get up against. Checked that area in northern Pennsylvania and found out that there were more snakes there in the last few years. The snake populations of poisonous snakes have.
Hearing you, and I honestly feel I'm clueless sometimes. I remember walking in the Everglades, and I didn't think about poisonous snakes until I saw a snake move by. And the same with up in Pennsylvania. I don't think about dangers, or you're scanning everything out and taking everything in. I'm like, doo-doo-doo, hey, how are you? And vibe or feel, then I obviously I won't do that. But even as far as snakes, or I don't know, I could see me putting a blanket down where there's fire ants, and I just don't think I'm the smartest with that, and so I need to improve on that. I think we can all improve and learn about something, and I'm just going to admit that's probably things that I need to learn. Why I'm like that. I think I'm overwhelmed by the scenery. Love the outdoors. I mean, so to me that is just, the ideal place. So I think my senses are just so overwhelmed with all that any kind of danger or anything, that thought is kind of really pushed way back there. That's probably not a smart thing to do.
Since we're talking about safety, I'd be remiss if we did not talk about carbon monoxide. I had a video that we put up previously about carbon monoxide, and I took some of that and put that right in this video because it is so important, especially this time of year when we're using heaters and everything. I was just sitting on the couch. I had just straightened my hair a little bit and was getting ready to put my makeup on. The generator was outside. The door to the camper was open. And all of a sudden, this thing starts going off. And I came running out of the camper. I mean, you don't smell anything with carbon monoxide. So I was kind of shocked. that quickly that thing went off. I mean, maybe it was no big deal, but I'm really glad that it alerted me. I would definitely recommend for everyone to, if they're using a generator, to have a carbon monoxide detector. If you want to have an enjoyable and safe camping experience, you need to take some precautions. But it's not just with generators. We use propane stoves and lanterns, heaters, all sorts of things like that. So we need to be careful because all of these will emit carbon monoxide. So the best thing you could do is get a carbon monoxide detector, also have a smoke detector and a fire extinguisher. 500 people die each year from carbon monoxide poisoning. It's important to make sure you know how to properly use a generator. Make sure you read the instructions. Position generators outdoors, well away from any structure. This could be 15, 25 feet away. Make sure they don't get wet. Make sure your generator is properly grounded. Don't plug the generator into a wall outlet. Make sure it has enough fuel. Turn your generator off and let it cool before refueling. And make sure you inspect your generator regularly. And know the signs of carbon monoxide poisoning. Remember, carbon monoxide is odorless. You cannot smell it. And the symptoms are kind of vague. I mean, headache, feeling nauseous, just feeling kind of like ill and under the weather. So there you go, everyone.
These are some tips for staying safe in 2022.
We want you to continue to be happy campers. That's a wrap, everyone. You know what to do if you like this video.
You all come back now, you hear?